Hey, I'm in northwest Bulgaria right now, driving up to the northwesternmost corner of the country, right up against Romania, a small port city named Vidin. You know, Bulgaria is the poorest country in the European Union, and northwest Bulgaria is infamously the poorest region in the country. It's the world capital of population decline. Here we are. Welcome to Vidin, the poorest city in the poorest region in the poorest country in the European Union. I read that a few years ago, in 2020, the per capita income was 3,640 euros. Today's exchange rate, that's about 300 bucks a month. Now, that wouldn't include off-the-books earnings, of course. Look at this. It's all one giant building. That drive-in, great introduction to the communist era of the city. And here's home for the next 2 nights. I'm gonna stay here for 2 nights because today was basically a driving day. Don't have a lot of time to show you anything, and there are a lot of cool things to see in the city. Let's take a quick look at this hotel I'm staying in, and then we'll do a little tour. Sun's going down in an hour. And here is what 40 euros a night gets you in Vidin. So we have just enough time for a... Hold on, look at that communist artwork. Artwork from the days of the People's Republic of Bulgaria, back when it was ruled by the Communist Party. Okay, as I was saying, we have just enough time for a sunset stroll along Bulgaria's longest river, the Danube. Across the Danube lies Romania, and can you see that bridge there? That's linking Bulgaria to Romania. This is a 1959 statue called the Swimmer. Nice. Check this out. It's the communist-era monument of resistance, dedicated to the anti-fascist and anti-capitalist uprising in Bulgaria. On this same site stood a prison where 6 Bulgarian partisans were hanged in September 1944. These 3 sculpture compositions here are dedicated to the communist uprising of September 1923. Here's a communist woman. And this one to the Bulgarian partisan movement. And lastly, the 1944 victory of socialism. You can see the soldier here. It's decorated with the Red Star and some medals. After the political changes, this monument was abandoned, and this ossuary behind it was plundered. Oh, and it's been renamed. It's now the Monument of Freedom. Looks like we can see inside the ossuary where the remains would have been interred. Now, in case you're worried, this is not going to be another communist-only video. I've got a lot more to show you tomorrow. Medieval ruins and Ottoman structures, Jewish structures, Orthodox structures, forts. And right now, I'm going to show you some food. Yep. Just because it's the poorest city in the EU doesn't mean it doesn't have a lot to offer. Passing a lot of beautiful buildings. I'll show you tomorrow. Here's one I could tell you about, and I love the soft lighting on the minaret here. This is called the Heart Mosque. It is the only mosque in the world without a half moon on top. Or, if that's not true, it's the only mosque in the world with a heart on top of the minaret. That's why the locals are calling it Heart Mosque. The mosque was built by Osman Pasvantoğlu, an Ottoman Bosnian soldier, and the governor of Vidin after 1794, and a rebel against the Ottoman Empire. After Pasvantoğlu established an independent administration in Vidin, independent of Ottoman rule, and supported revolts against the Ottoman Empire, the Ottomans carried out 3 separate operations against him between 1795 and 1802, and he only managed to survive because he accepted a pardon in exchange for stopping the riots. So about the heart on top, or the inverted heart, the story goes that it's a sign of unrequited love between Pasvantoğlu, who was a Muslim, and a beautiful Bulgarian Christian girl. That he dedicated this mosque to her in 1802. Other people say, it's not a heart, it's just a spade, you moron. But still, there are no mosques in the world with a spade on top either. So, special, either way. This restaurant opened in the 1960s, originally called Balkan Tourist. I asked for Bulgarian food, he's bringing me chicken liver and onions. Oh, and Serbian bread is also apparently Bulgarian food. All right, let's leave Old Town for a drink. Old Town is entirely within Kaleto Fortress. You've seen parts of that fortress system's walls. And we're coming up to the most famous gate of the fortress as we leave it, Stambol Gate. It's the most famous because the road to Constantinople passed through here. And aside, one of the rumors is that Istanbul got its name from Stambol, which means to the city. This gate was built in the 1600s. And here we are in Vidin's main square, completely devoid of people. It's only 8 o'clock. I thought maybe we'd catch some action here because I haven't seen any people anywhere yet. Yeah, this province, Vidin province, population has declined about 65% since 1946. This Bulgarian Brutalist building is Vidin's City Hall. I see the lights of the bar. Could there be people? Kamenica beer from Bulgaria since 1881. That bar was basically a teenage hangout spot, at least tonight. And on the 14th, 16 and older for the erotic dress-up dance party. I asked the bartender where old people hang out, and he said they hang out here, but in the morning. And heading back home into Old Town. It's -6 Celsius, 21 degrees Fahrenheit. Maybe that's a reason there's nobody on the streets. Good morning. Hotel breakfast time. I love the breakfast room. Really cute. All right, children, it's 12 o'clock, 6 hours of daylight. Back through Stamboul Gate to the main square. Let's see how it is in the daylight. And check out this sign here. I didn't show you last night. Now you can see how high it is. In 1942, there was a flood. And this is how high the waters of the Danube reached. Yeah. Okay. 12 noon on a Wednesday. Not much action, but better than last night. The city's population, not the provinces, but the cities, is about 30,000 people. Down from something like 62,000 in 92. People leave to find jobs. And then because there's less and less people, the economy stagnates. It's a downward spiral. A Jewish monument here. If I'm reading that correctly, and I may not be, it says that during World War II, under Axis occupation, the Jews were treated as equal citizens thanks to Bulgarians, and they say thank you. And this was put up in 1998. I may not have that right, but best I can interpret. The centerpiece of the square is a monument to a Bulgarian regiment that participated in every war fought by the Third Bulgarian State through World War II. And you know the Third Bulgarian State as the Kingdom of Bulgaria, which consisted of lands now in Serbia and Kosovo, North Macedonia, Greece, Romania. The Third Bulgarian State was pretty much at war throughout its entire existence, from 1908 to 1946. City Hall that I showed you last night, and the Brutalist courthouse, which looks like it might double as a nightclub, hybrid bar nightclub. A leaning spire on that Viennese-inspired building. Decorative entrance of City Hall. City Hall doesn't end with this high-rise. It continues. Note to self, don't park illegally here. They're clamping. It's another monument to that same Bulgarian regiment. It says they fell for the fatherland in Serbia in 1885. Post office. Next up is the grave of Osman Pasvantoglu, the guy who built the mosque. Wow, this was unexpected. Here's the grave of Pasvantoglu in the backyard of some communist-era housing estate. True to the terms of his pardon, Pasvantoglu remained loyal to the Ottoman Empire until his death at his estate here in Vidin in 1807, at the old age of 49. He died naturally in his bed. The general plan today is I'm following the half circle from south to north, roughly along the boundaries between Old Town and New Town, so along the Coletto fortifications. See how far I get, and then if I have time, back down south along the Danube. And here's the second biggest Orthodox cathedral in Bulgaria, next to the one in Sofia, St. Dimitar of Thessaloniki. Originally built in the 1600s, but the version you see here from the 1800s.
Back in the Ottoman Empire days, the Bulgarian population was prevented from residing within the city walls. Ultimately, this is why the church stands where it does now, outside the city fortress.
Here's another sign marking the flood of 1942. It's a little lower as you get away from the center of Old Town. Passing by the Vidin Historical Museum, which is situated in a former Ottoman konak, a house. Originally built in the 1700s, it was used as a home by Osman Pazvantoglu, later as a police office. After liberation, it was enriched with elements from the Bulgarian Renaissance architecture. If I had the time, I'd love to go inside. I smell something really good. It's from a bakery somewhere around here. I don't see it. Smells like banitsa. Found at a bakery called Montenegro. One banichka.
Okay.
Banitsa, traditional Bulgarian pastry. There's a school. It's not a university. There is no university in the city of Vidin. Approaching the communist era, Brutalist House of Youth. And speaking of youth, Vidin province is the oldest in Bulgaria, meaning the percentage here of people over the age of 65 is the highest in the country. Passing under the House of Youth, we come to a small park featuring the monument to Dimitar Blagoev. Doubt I'm saying any of these Bulgarian names correctly. To emphasize his role as the wise father of the Communist Party, he was usually portrayed as an old man, and therefore called the grandfather. He looks like a saint here, doesn't he? Socialist, modernist sports hall, again, communist era, obviously. Recently renovated, all new windows. Ooh, gotta watch your step here. And here's another gate to Old Town, part of the Coletto fortification. If we were to go through that gate, we'd be back in Old Town. The name of this one is Pazar Kapie, which means market gate, because there's a market around here. Let's pass through that. Actually, let's duck into Old Town real quick, in and out. The old town of Vidin is surrounded by the Ottoman fortress of Coletto, of which many of the ornate gates have been preserved and date from the 1600s. Okay, Old Town. Now let's get back to the tour. So, as I was saying, the street market. This would be the farmer's market section. Not operating at the moment. Let's get to the open part of the market. It's eerie. Vendors have these products set up and there's no customers. Maybe they're all at work. Although if they are at work, they're not getting paid very much. So I'm thinking we're kind of running out of time here. And so we should leave Newtown, go through this gate into Coletto, and see Vidin's primary landmark. This entrance is called Janissary Gate. This is not the landmark I'm taking you to, but let's pop in. The door's open. It looks inviting. It's an old Ottoman warehouse. Sarcophagus out front, because this building now serves as the archaeological museum. No one here, not even a worker. Jewish tombstone from the 1800s. There is an abandoned Jewish cemetery in town, but we're not going to have time for that. Tombstone from the 1300s. All right, here's the main attraction. It's right outside the door. Baba Vida is the only entirely preserved medieval castle in Bulgaria. The pride and joy of Vidin. It's got 2 curtain walls and a moat. Construction of this castle began in the 900s at the site of an ancient Roman castle, establishing Vidin as the key fortress in this often rebellious and separatist northwestern region of the Bulgarian Empire. Let's get a ticket and pay a visit inside. I usually don't go inside castles. They all kind of look the same. Though it was briefly conquered by the Austrians and the Hungarians, it was the Ottomans who last used this castle as a fortification. This castle is named Baba Vida, which translates to Granny Vida or Grandma Vida, thanks to a legend of a Bulgarian king who ruled here in Vidin. Prior to his death, divided his realm into three. He had three daughters, and his eldest daughter, Vida, received his land in Vidin. And she built this castle, and she never married. So they called her Grandma Vida. And the castle inherited her name. Nice. So many spots in this castle to accidentally fall to your death. I'm sure you've noticed, as I have, not a soul in sight. The Ottomans used this castle as a weapons warehouse and also as a prison and as a residence for our main man, Osman Kazvantoglu. Little museum in one of the castle rooms. This is a good picture to help you envision where we are. See, this is the Coletto fortress system, the gates we've been popping in and out of. And here is the castle, Baba Vida. And from this model, you can see that all of the gates of Coletto had drawbridges because there was a moat surrounding the fortress system. And then, of course, you had the Danube protecting the front. Moving on. You should have seen what this synagogue looked like a few years ago. Put up a picture. It was originally built in 1894 and disused since 1950, up until recently, when it was restored into an interfaith cultural center, named after a famous Vidin-born Jew who studied in Paris and became friends with Picasso. I'll put his name in the captions. Jules something. I was just reading there are not many Jews left in Vidin, maybe about a dozen. Most of the city's Jews emigrated to Israel after the war. This is a former military facility of the Ottoman Empire. It's called the cross-shaped barrack. It was completed in 1801 and used by a unit of the Janissaries. And across from the barracks is the oldest church in Vidin, St. Petka Church. It was built in 1634. And the reason the church is small built and dug deep into the ground is that according to Islamic law at the time, all churches within the empire's territory should not be taller than a rider on a horse. Another church, this one, the Orthodox Church of St. Nicholas of Myra, 1926. These boards of death notices are everywhere throughout the city. They also put these notices up on the doors and gates of the homes that they lived in. This red building here belongs to the church, the Vidin Diocese. Ottoman-era post office. Look at this. I think we're looking at a communist-era brutalist slide for the children. Oh, so smooth. This has been here a while. Wow. I have to do it. translates in the video, but I feel that these past 2 days I've been in a dream, and it feels real, but I know something's off, so I know it's a dream. It's very surreal, this city. Glad I came, and I'd recommend it to others. Wow, I just noticed the boardwalk I've been walking on. You know, it's iron, and it flips up. I wonder if it's for flood control. Interesting. Nice. A restaurant on a boat on the Danube. Burgasko beer. I presume from Burgas, Bulgaria. I got sturgeon straight from the Danube here. I paused eating the sturgeon to show you this moon. The waitress on the boat said that, you know, there's a new mayor in town and everyone's very excited because he's having the older buildings restored, like the synagogue as an example. That's the moon. The waitress also confirmed my suspicions that that stone slide is in fact communist era. She played on it as far back as she can remember, as have her parents. Now you know how to write Vidin in Bulgarian Cyrillic. This is Europe Square. Here's the theater building. This is the port. And, oh, there's some, looks like some communist artwork here. May have to come back in the morning. No, don't have time. Driving 6 hours tomorrow. Gotta get to Timisoara. Not a part of this video. Not a part of any video. Let's see. Let's see if the train station has anything going on. And then I think I'll call it a night. Here's the train station. The lights are on. Locked. I guess they're not expecting any arrivals. 8:30 p.m. I'm behind the train station now, where the trains roll in, just to see if there was a way in, and the doors are all locked. Here's a peek through one. Great view of City Hall from here. The frozen fountain. I asked the waitress on the boat, you know, where can I hang out? What's going on at Vidin? And she said, if you're here Friday, come with me to the erotic dance party for Valentine's Day. Wouldn't that be something? And my hotel. In honor of this light snow, taking a quick walk around the block before crossing the Danube into Romania. Looks like I found the pedestrian street with people on it. I woke up this morning feeling melancholy. It's the city. Special place, to be sure. Once strategically important, and now a dying mosaic of remnants of empires that have passed through. Abandoned, run down, maintained, forgotten, not forgotten, restored. The Danube keeps flowing. Pendulum always swings, right? This is my hotel, built in 1920, but look at the top part there, the new part. Put that up in 98, 99, before it became a protected heritage site, I guess. And there's a painting of the hotel up the stairs with the owner, George, and his wife. Hold on, taking you to one more spot. It's a Red Army military cemetery, created January 8th, 1945. This Red Army cemetery is the largest in Bulgaria and one of the first outside of the borders of Soviet Union. Here were buried soldiers who fell in Yugoslavia, as well as those who died in hospitals of this region. The red star on top symbolized the Red Army and military service, as opposed to the hammer and sickle, which symbolized peaceful labor. Speaking of labor, this cemetery was built by a group of Italian war prisoners. Well, time to cross that bridge into Romania and drive up to Serbia. I got a Valentine's Day bacon festival to catch. Is there a better way to spend Valentine's Day? I used to come to Romania a lot, but now I'm not going to come that much because you're in Schengen, so it takes away my 90 days, you know, like, so annoying. So the only good thing about Schengen is that there's no more border checks, but now I got a border check.
It's a random border, so.